Hello, I'm Greg Levine. It's the party line. It's July 29th, 2011. If things look a little different lighting-wise, perhaps there's some flickering going on, or maybe a little more blue cast, it's because I've got the TV on right behind the camera. I'm watching the news. I'm watching the news ticker as we do this. I've waited as long as possible to record this video. As of this recording, we have no deal on raising the debt ceiling. The president has announced that he will speak, but he has yet to speak. He's supposed to make some sort of statement this morning. I don't know, maybe he'll just release a statement, but he's supposed to have some sort of statement. That hasn't come yet. But I can't believe that I'm doing this. I can't believe that, A, I'm coming to you on July 29th, still talking about freaking debt ceiling, and I can't believe that I'm even caring. I mean, it's, to say I'm watching a slow-motion train wreck is really like, it just doesn't even begin to sort of encapsulate just how ridiculous this whole thing is. I mean, it's not just that it's a manufactured crisis, and it very much is that. It's that it's a completely malicious crisis. It is the essence of shock doctrine. It is a situation created in order to so shift the debate that every option available to us right now is a crappy one. And that, I feel funny even using the word debate. There is no debate. As I think Atrios put it, it's the austerity party versus the austerity party. Others have also bemoaned the fact that we no longer have anyone talking about anything but how much to cut, from David Dayen to Ari Berman. Lots of articles bemoaning the race to the bottom, and that's what this is. This is a race to the bottom. And at that bottom is an America that we will define and carve out and shape for the next 10, 20 years probably. One that has abandoned so much of the stuff that we worked for the last 50 or 60. That we now have in office a president who is going to lead us into this abyss, a president that ran on something very much the opposite, who tried to draw on the great legacy of the Democratic Party, and is instead going about his business crapping on it. Robert Reich has an article that came out this week talking about the president in general, his leadership or lack thereof during this crisis. Basically saying that while we could have had an educator-in-chief who could have told us why it matters and maybe rallied the country around some sort of austerity program, leaving aside whether or not you think that's right, instead we have a president that has attempted to rally us around a tactic, which is compromise. And that leaves America scratching its head and wondering what the hell for. And I mean, absolutely, what the hell for? But it's worse than that. I mean, I think Reich's post is very good, and I certainly quote from it and link to it in the post attached to this video. But I think in a way he's almost too kind. I mean, he does capture the political reality, which if I can quote just this tiny line right here, which is he says that. That by Obama embracing the austerity meme, and by looking to compromise, and by the Democrats racing to compete with the Republicans on who can cut more from the budget, Americans can only conclude, this is a quote, that the Republicans must be correct, that diminishing the deficit will somehow revive economic growth and restore jobs. And of course the problem is, the very real problem is, that nothing could be further from the truth. That cutting the deficit at best will have no effect on the current economic problem, but almost certainly will have an effect that will be negative. That instead of increasing demand by expanding the social safety net or by stimulating job growth, we are going to constrain the very things that government can do to help us get through this crisis. And by looking, frankly, backward, looking at the deficits created under under Bush and Obama, instead of looking forward as to what we can do to rebuild the economy by stimulating R&D, the next generation of technology that might boost the economy, by stimulating growth, by providing jobs, rebuilding our infrastructure, all these things, what we have done is put together a program to lose another decade. And we're already halfway to our first lost decade. It's truly disgusting and incredibly upsetting. And incredibly upsetting that, to the exclusion of everything else, this is what we have to pay attention to. Because there are some very real downsides to defaulting, allowing ourselves, shall we say, to default on our obligations, whether it's by not raising the debt ceiling or by the executive branch refusing on this one occasion to go all unitary executive on us and invoke their 14th Amendment privileges to honor our obligations. Sorry about that. I got distracted. That's a lesson to be learned. You can't really do this with the TV on behind the camera. But of course, nothing was happening. And I guess that's really the crux of this right here is that nothing has been happening for a very long time now. And the point I want to make is that this is the fault, first and foremost, of Barack Obama, President of the United States, not the educator-in-chief, not the in-chief of anything, and certainly not a leader here, in that he's A, allowed this to go on, and B, has affirmed the Republicans' construction of the frame, and has led the whole argument into the place where it is right now, where our economy is being held hostage to ideas that will only help destroy it further. And this is something that I think some of us have come to a while ago, by and by. Some of us need to wake up to right now, which is that we don't have real leadership at the top, and it makes it very hard. It makes it very hard to fight for anything, honestly. That we have a president that is at best reactive, and at worst someone who is actively participating in the undoing of New Deal democracy, and this is something certainly to get angry about, but get angry about in a way that is beyond simply picking up your phone, calling Congress, and telling them you believe in compromise, or even that you would like them to not default, to raise the debt ceiling, to do it now, do it cleanly, as we should. It's something that's going to require absolutely now a Herculean effort at perhaps the most minute level, the personal level, in order to overcome the incredible absence of leadership at the most macro level, of the entire federal government. Otherwise, as I imagine, more people become cynical, more people drop out of the process, and it becomes that much easier for, be they feckless leaders or the corporate masters behind them, to manipulate the economy and the government to their own ends, to their enhancement of their wealth, and to the detriment of so many real, hardworking, struggling Americans, and honestly now, because this will have ripples, global citizens. So yeah, I can call on the president to lead, and I can hope for something to come of this. I don't expect it, which is just going to leave us with that much more to do afterwards. And I guess if there's a takeaway beyond my thorough disgust with where we are today, it's that we can't let that disgust get the better of us. We can't afford cynicism. In the long run, we have no choice but to vent, move on, and fight another day, be it at the local level, be it over new elected officials, or be it over just helping people who will now be dropped by a government that used to look out for the least of us. That's the party line, and I'll see you next week. I'll hopefully be talking about something else.